with Drew Stensland. Super exciting stuff. Drew, tell us where you're running, about your area, about yourself.
Yeah, I'll start off with where I'm running. So Drew Stensland running for Iowa House District 75, which is a Cedar Falls seat. It's about Cedar Falls overall has about 42,000-ish people, and this seat has all but about 8,000 of them in it. And it does include the most of you and I, not all of you and I, but most of it, at least the main campus portion, um, which is kind of fun. It's just cool to represent a region institution. So a little bit about me. I'm from Cedar Falls originally. Went to Graduated from the old high school in 2015, and was actually pretty active throughout my time there on the uh, school bonds to get a new high school, which we now have. And then from there, went to UNI, where I was student body president and was involved kind of all over campus during my 4 years. And then when I graduated in 2019, there was this brand new program called Lead for America, which is kind of like Teach for America, but you go work with local government. And so it was the first time they were putting a cohort together, and so I like completely changed my life plan and jumped in on the program. And my fellowship was a 2-year deal in the auditor's office running the PI program. And so after that, I got hired full time in the office. So I've been there for 6 years. It feels kind of weird that I started there when Rob had been in office for 6 months, and now we are in the last year of his term. And so that's kind of a weird thing, but throughout that time, I've been active in the at multiple levels within the party, whether it's state central committee, the district level, or the county level. So I've done a lot of random stuff all over the place, but yeah, that's I think covering everything you asked for right there.
Yes, good job. Mom, you've got first question.
Oh, okay. Um, what inspired you to run?
It's a good question. So I had basically decided I was never going to run for office and was very happy and content with my quiet staffer life and really was enjoying it. And then after 2024, it was like, okay, we need something different here because what we are doing is not working. And so my plan was just to throw myself at Blackhawk County and campaigns within Blackhawk County to just try to get our get us up to the 60 or 65% that Democrats can get to win statewide. And so that was just what I was going to do for the next 2 years. And then after meeting with Bob a few times, he was not sure if he was going to run again. And so I still was leaning towards not doing this kind of thing. And then after meeting with, people that I trust and people that across the community, I was like, okay, this is something that I can do. It's something that I think we desperately need young people to stand up and do something about. Like, I at some level, I was sitting around so I'm a Lions Club member in Cedar Falls, and so I was sitting around, and it's like the average age of the Lions Club, and this is not a dig, is probably closer to 70 than it is my age. And so, uh, how do we make sure and start the conversation of turning over these organizations who are doing a lot of great work around our community now, so that in 10 years they don't just fold in on themselves because they don't have the people power to do something. And so, part of the goals of running and part of the reason why is like I want to help bridge the gap and get more folks that look like me and my age group involved in the process now before we hit a crisis. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Do you find a lot of pushback with being, in the lane of politics, especially whether that's, kind of across the board, whether it's county politics or state politics or even, in working within the auditor's office and stuff, do you find a lot of pushback because you're younger?
So I would say, I mean, I've been very blessed because, Rob has been a great role model to get to watch over the last 6 years.
And he's also
And
fairly young in the scope of politics.
he, he is, and like the fun thing about it was like he's been in the whole office culture has been very willing to like just hand stuff off to young people. Like I was 22 running a statewide government efficiency program that was brand new and didn't really have a playbook on how do you get this into every city, county, and school district. And so like Rob was like, figure it out and trusted me as a young person to do that. And, it worked for the most part. We've been able to do a lot and it's really got the potential to unlock, millions of dollars across state government or across local government. And so like I have not found nearly as much pushback within the office itself. Obviously, he's a unique guy to work for, and so that's a different. Like I would imagine in other places you do find a lot more resistance. And I think that speaks volumes of the kind of person he is as a leader and the kind of culture he brings. And I think that's the kind of culture we need to model the way in across state government, local government, all the governments, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we have with the lane that we're in, we talk a lot about younger people getting more active and more involved and the reasons that they're not active and involved. Because the thing is that young people are active. Young people do care about what's going on, probably far more than most older people at this point. However, they don't show up to indivisible meetings. They don't show up to county party meetings. And the question that we've been asked over and over and over again since we started Insufferable Wenches was what can we do to get young people active? How do we need a TikTok? And I think, there's just something to be said for hand it over, you know, it's gotta be young people need to feel welcomed. They need to be able to say their thoughts and contribute, and they need to, they need the platform to speak just like anybody else. So you're not going to get young people involved if you're telling them to sit down in the back of the room and to do their time. They've done their time. There is no time to do. Like this is all of us now, right? So when we talk to young candidates, especially, I get really excited to ask those questions because I know that we've faced lots of pushback because weirdly, I am also considered young, which is disgusting. I'm 44, by the way. So that's not, but in the lane of politics, it kind of is weirdly. But Layla obviously gets plenty of pushback for her age. So it's always kind of interesting to see kind of where other people land on that. Um,
And like, oh, sorry,
no,
I
you're
want to
go.
want to
Absolutely go.
throw in one of the things that I do think we all collectively like I don't want to say I mean society, but like organizations especially need to do is shift the model that we're working under.
Mhm.
Because like if I pulled my friend group and said, "Hey, do you want to join a committee that meets every week for an hour or an hour and a half and we just meet and yes, some stuff comes out of it, but not a ton of stuff."
Mhm.
They're going to say no. But if I say, hey, do you want to go knock doors with me? Hey, do you want to go do postcards with me or do the actual work that you're talking about in the meeting
Mhm.
with me and make it kind of a social thing? I think shifting the model into a more action-based, this is how we're working,
Mhm.
rather than a committee-based, like you have to join this committee and sit through Robert's rules and this kind of thing in order to be a productive member of the organization. Like that model just is outdated, and we need to, I think, recognize that and move forward.
Yeah, and I would add to that and say that it's not only outdated, but it doesn't work for most people anymore, right? When we're all out working multiple jobs and, people my age have kids and the things like that, it doesn't work. Layla, what were you saying?
Especially so like third spaces have completely disappeared. They don't exist. And so creating that kind of like third space activity tends to get people more involved,
Mhm.
where it's like not meeting at a library, but doing something. So then it like in your brain feels worth it to spend that time doing because no one has any. That's
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, great. That I don't think we've actually ever touched on that in any of these kind of candidate sessions before. So good job, Drew.
Happy
Um,
to help.
do you have a primary opponent?
So I've been making the rounds to different events and knocking doors and doing stuff, and I haven't really seen anyone doing much. So I'm not sure anyone can, obviously file and
Okay,
run, but as far as I know, no one's actively really running against me. So yeah.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I know that we saw an announcement at one point, but then there wasn't really anything else. And we dig pretty deep to find these things. So, what do you think makes you different from other Democratic candidates?
Mm. So I would say the unique thing is so I've done a decent amount of things within politics and campaigns and all that kind of stuff over the last, I think my first election was 2013. So it's been over a decade now of working on campaigns. And so I've got a lot of experience with that, but I'm still, 29. So my knees don't really feel like I'm a young person anymore. But like besides that, I still really am a young person. And like between campaign and party work, and also 6 years in state government and working both with the legislature, working with local government, working as so my official title in the office is community engagement officer. And so within that, a lot of what I do is focused on, when we get a letter, trying to make sure we direct it into the right place because a lot of the stuff that we get isn't really something we have a pretty narrow scope as the auditor's office. But working with constituents is a large part of the job. And so I've got a pretty good I've had a pretty nice long training towards doing very similar work as what will be the work you do in the legislature. So,
Great. Okay, next question is, do you have a favorite political podcast, or do you have like a favorite TikToker that you follow for politics? We're just building our own base here, basically.
yeah. So I will say, not really, I don't really have a TikToker because like I do have a TikTok, but it's like the one thing in my life that I've managed to keep non-political.
How? Oh my
I
God.
it,
I need
it takes
lessons.
it takes a lot of work to like really keep out of that because like it's what I love about it is oftentimes it's just like the most random videos you've ever seen of like people interacting with each other, and I'm like it's hard to next time I see you in person I will find one and show you like the truly like combination of how is this happening in real life and it's not AI, and like this is kind of it's my favorite non-political space, and like I'm very actively trying to keep it that way because
That is
everything
great.
else is very political. To answer your question, so I'm not a huge podcast person, just I usually do audiobooks more than I do podcasts, but I
Ooh,
would
we're
say
also open to book
okay.
recommendations.
So I have it's a long haul, but the my favorite book, political book, is called What It Takes, and it's by Richard Ben Kramer, and it's about the 1988 presidential campaign, and it covers both Democrats and Republicans. But what
Okay.
I love is like, so it's like this thick, like it is a 54-hour audiobook.
Wow.
And I'm in my third time going through it. But like you learn a lot about politics from kind of a different era, which is cool. But more importantly, you get to really dive in and see how politicians who work at that level kind of operate. And it's a really cool read on just politics in a really deep dive way. As far as podcasts, I will say the one podcast that I will somewhat regularly listen to is it's Market to Market, the farming podcast.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, Mainly they bring it, it's very obviously heavily focused on farming, but it's also they bring in like farming adjacent stuff, which is kind of cool. So like the last one I listened to, I'm a little behind on them, but the last one I listened to, the I think it was either the current or the last teacher of the year is an ag teacher from Western Iowa. And they kind of did a deep dive on what ag teaching looks like. And it was a really interesting interview of like that. I would have never thought through it that way. So they kind of do interesting stuff around not just agriculture, but also adjacent things, which I think is kind of a fun thing to bring in. And it's an Iowa-based podcast. So
That's cool. I like that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. This is a big conversation that, we hear about often. It's probably one of the most talked about things that we deal with on the scale of wenches and what people want to see and what they want us to ask and stuff like that. So, do you take corporate PAC money or do you plan to take corporate PAC money?
I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on it because it's hard to find an exact thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I set the record on the most raised for a state house candidate in the first 24 hours, which was over 30,000. And uh, there was no corporate PAC money in there. It's just me calling up my personal network and pulling uh, donations in that way.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, I don't plan on it, but I also will say that the Republicans are putting up a lot of money, and we need to find a way to, like, I don't think anyone around here would say, yes, I absolutely really want to take corporate PAC money.
Right.
But I also do think that we need to get serious on campaign finance.
Yeah.
And the only way we're ever going to get there is if we're in the majority because the current system's working just fine for the folks that are there. And so like I think having a hard stance on that is good, but I also think we need to address the entire system of campaign finance in order to really get at the root of the issue we have. So
Yeah. Layla, you got anything to add to that?
Nope, I agree.
Perfect. Okay, Layla, you got the next question. And yes, we agree, by the way. Like I also agree. Campaign finance reform, please, please, immediately.
I would love to not have to call my friends up and family
And
up and
beg for
everyone
money.
I've ever met for money.
It
So
should not cost tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to perform a public service. That's weird,
It
right?
yeah,
costs more than it pays.
It costs
it
more than it
does.
What is
pays.
that?
Well, so
It
does
absolutely
college at this point, but that's just another issue we can talk about later.
yeah.
All right, Layla, next question.
Okay. If we look at the legislature like it's college and you pick a major and you pick a minor, what are you majoring in and what are you minoring in?
So because education is a huge focal point, especially in my district. I mean, we have UNI, which is one of the best education programs in the country. We Education is, I think, the central piece of it's one of the top reasons why I ran is, we have to do something around vouchers. I'm a vote for to I did do a little bit of homework and watch some of the other interviews. And so I will say, I think it does come up later if I don't address it now. I'm for full repeal of the voucher program. That being said, I do think it's tricky on how you go about it, because it's once we have landed where we are today, unwinding it takes, it's probably a 12-year commitment to let people graduate out. It's a whole thing. And so in the meantime, I think there are a lot of common sense things we can do around capping the income, especially like I think a lot of folks don't understand that we have a that the line item for that part of the budget has no cap, and we can just it can just explode the entire state budget and there's nothing anyone can do about it. And so it's like I don't have any line item in my budget that can just explode and take everything out. And so I think we need to address that part. I think if we're going to actually call it a competition between public and private, they should have to follow every single rule that a public school has to follow, whether it's making sure they have to do audits just like a public school does, making sure that they have to take the same students, making sure like the list goes on and on of if we're going to have a competition, let's have a competition, but you don't get to just have no rules around your side and then a bunch of rules around the public school side. So yeah, that's so education. Also, because you and I is one of the reasons I ran, or I am running, I should say, is my goal is to like I have benchmarks of where I want things to be by the time I retire out. And one of them being I want to make sure that UNI is has a strong presence and continues to be a strong educational force uh, for the next 50 years. You know, we're celebrating 150 right now. And so how do we get us to 200? And I think there's a lot of focus. I think a huge focus being an advocate around that issue is going to be big because they're doing a lot of good changes that I think will help, but I think both you and I and all of our region institutions need much more support than what they're getting.
Yeah.
So that's the major. Minors are so you're talking to someone who couldn't pick a minor and so just double majored into things in college. I would say probably minor would be local government, just because I think it A doesn't really get the focus that it deserves, and B the Republican legislature over the last decade has just like eroded so much of what local government can do, and like they can keep it going, right? Like the property tax bill, that is any of the bills that are up there around property tax would extremely limit what local government can do. And to me, it's like if folks don't like how their local government is running, they can vote out the people that are running their local government.
Mhm.
And so if we're going to just keep eroding it, why have local government at all if that's their goal?
Yeah.
And like to me, it's like we have a lot of good folks who are not getting paid virtually anything to do a lot of work for local government. We should trust them to do the work that they've been elected to do. So I would say local government is probably my minor.
Yeah, that's a good one. It doesn't get talked about enough.
Mm-mm.
This is probably the most controversial question, so if you need like a minute, that's okay.
You're good.
Cats or dogs and why?
Mm, dogs. I we just so it's actually fun. My dad, so growing up, we always had dogs. A, my mom is allergic to cats, but B, my dad for 30 years was a firefighter in Cedar Falls. And so we had growing up a Dalmatian dog, which is very on brand for the whole firefighter thing. But like he had trained, her name was Hallie, which is short for Halligan tool, which is a tool that firefighters use. But she could like stop, drop, and roll, and she could do it all. Like it was a cool thing. So definitely dog.
That's fair. I
That's
think I'm a
adorable.
cat person because I have dogs and I
That
like cats.
that's fair. Very, very valid.
But we don't just have dogs. We have three dogs, one of which is a giant husky who's not the brightest, but
But
also
who
very smart at the same time. It's very strange.
and is probably living his best life with the very wildly cold weather we have right now.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He is loving it. Although he
He went to
did
the vet the other day. He
did
was rolling around in the snow beforehand. I had to apologize.
Oh, but they wait for this. Like this is their
Yeah,
time.
it
It's
is.
their heaven.
He's very cute. He's just, you know, mischievous. He's very mischievous, which I've heard is a thing for Huskies. That's what they do.
I
Listen,
believe
I
it.
didn't choose him. Layla showed up with him one day and suddenly we had a Husky.
That's
All
amazing.
her fault.
I love that for you all.
He's like, you can keep all of that.
Yeah.
So we've heard dogs, we've heard cats, we've had people kind of on both sides of that
Tropical
fence.
fish.
Tropical fish was one. Yeah.
That's a cool one.
And I was like, that's very cool, but we live in Iowa. So
They're also
he's got to
take some work,
travel.
right?
He's got to travel to go scuba diving so he can see his favorite animals, I
Mm.
guess. Are fish considered animals? I don't know. Is that an accurate description of fish? I don't know. But yeah, tropical fish.
I'm gonna ponder
Or
that one. That one might be
No,
the
right?
a question I ask people as I'm going about my day.
I like it. Okay. We're thinkers here.
okay. What are your top priorities that are not healthcare, environment, education?
It's a good question. Mental health is one that I think is just a core. We've got to do something about it because it's, in Blackhawk County, the top mental health provider is the Blackhawk County Sheriff's Office, which is ridiculous. That like they should be busy doing other things, not having to also take care of folks who are dealing with mental health problems. But also it is such a like I know people who really know government well and really know these systems well, and they cannot for the life of them find a bed for someone who needs a bed right now. And so it is to me a critical issue that it gets some talk, but not nearly enough of like, it shouldn't take weeks for you to find a bed for someone. It shouldn't take, and then the one bed that they can find is either in another state or it's somewhere that are hours away. Like, and when it is a person who you care deeply about, they need to be able to get help. Like, we do not have the time. We do not have the, like, folks who do not have time to deal with it, folks who do not have the ability to deal with it when you're trying to get through your day as well. Like, it's just to me a system that is crying out for some sort for funding for just a better system overall because it just isn't working right now. And like I think that's one that I think everyone can agree that the system's not working, and I think we can all agree that there needs to be some large scale change there to just make it easier for folks to navigate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
100. Okay. You already answered the private school voucher question.
Okay.
If you could pass legislation on a petty grievance, what would it be?
Okay. So it can be how serious does it have to be?
It doesn't have to be serious at
Okay.
all.
So very petty thing. For the life of me, if we could make it so that every city that does parking has to use the same app so that I don't have to keep downloading different apps and
Yes.
then try to figure out how the system works for each one and then put in my credit card. It's like, well, I'm not going to be back here for another year. So why do I need to download an app, put in my credit card number, and go through all this process just to park, just to spend $1 to park? Like I'm not saying we need to go back to just like quarters and the thing. I get it. But like, there's got to be a better way. And so requiring standardization there, I think would
Just
be a
one
great bill.
universal app.
I think
Yes.
one thing that
Yeah.
we could do is deprivatize parking.
I think it would go a long way on some of like I also think that we could like I think instead of having to go through the app of some company, there could just be a one singular local government app.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Yeah.
that's that's
See,
the
now you're
dream, right?
moving from non-serious into serious policy.
Oh,
This
this
is
is
what
serious.
happens when I get stuck on a Zoom call with a bunch of people who actually want to go and make changes and things like that.
No, I have actually taken a parking ticket because I refused to download the app.
I used to
I
get a
did
lot
that in
of
Cedar Falls.
I used to get a lot of parking tickets in college, and so the so like this is an issue that hits close of like we can find a better way here, but like I'm just saying it seems like it would be an easy thing we could do and that would make people's lives easier.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's great. I think that's a fabulous idea.
I got so many parking tickets in college.
Yeah, you did.
Nightmare.
I've had one parking, nope, two parking tickets in my entire life. And
Oh,
one was on College Hill probably 20 years ago. Um, and the other was at the Blackhawk County Courthouse.
my first day of senior year, I got two parking tickets in the first day.
Wow.
They're serious. They run
You're
us.
talented.
I know.
Okay. Mom, it's back to you.
Oh, okay.
Keep
Okay,
up.
next. Wait, what? Did you say something? We talked at the same time, so it cut out.
Oh, I said keep up.
Oh, sorry. I'm over here in my own little world, freezing on the porch. It's fine. What would you consider valid experience for someone that is running for Iowa House or Senate?
I think any experience is valid for running for office. Like I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer there because I think government works best when you're getting ideas from a diverse group of people. And so the more wide ranging that you have of folks at the table, I think just makes for better government for everyone. That being said, I will say, you know, even if you're like, I probably would never run, go jump on a campaign. Go go try to go run for central committee for the your county party. Go run for state central committee at the state level. Like run for you don't have to have a super public facing role to run for office
Right.
and gain a lot of good experience along the way that will help people better understand the system when you go to run for something bigger, right? Like running for state house is a whole different beast of trying to do a lot of different things. But after years of either A, working on campaigns and then working within the party, I've gained a lot of experience that has come in very handy for this. And so, the answer is there is no wrong answer on what kind of background you bring to the table. But I think you can gain a lot of good experience from just helping other people run for office as well. And you'll get a front row seat to know whether that's something you want to do or not.
Completely agree. We asked that question to everyone, and it is because we heard a candidate kind of grilling some other candidates about not having experience, and we were like, we didn't like it. I didn't like it specifically. If there's one to piss off, it's going to be me. Layla's calmer than I am. Um, and we agree. I think anybody who wants to go and run and because it's not like you guys are going to make boatloads of money
No.
in your, job at the state house. So like why are we acting like this is going to pay anybody's bills? Also, so you kind of have to want it, right? Like you have to want to do the job. I guess most people, Republicans kind of don't seem to go in that same lane in this current time period. But I think like it's really important for people to know that like you have every right to want to be involved, regardless of, whether you're running for Iowa House or, state central committee. Um, all of it's important. School board, oh my gosh, school
Soil and
board.
Water Conservation Commissioner. Like it
Yeah.
all makes a difference.
Yeah, county supervisor. There's so many different kind of things that you can do. Okay. So I lost my spot. No way. There's a reason we have all these questions written down because I have ADHD. So campaigning gets really hard, and obviously you announced fairly recently, so you kind of aren't, I don't think, in the thick of it yet. But you will be.
Yep.
Um, what what kind of keeps you going when things get, kind of rough? Because they do, regularly. What keeps you motivated?
So, I will say, uh, because like it's kind of a two part because there's what keeps you motivated and what keeps you sane.
Mm,
And so for me, the staying sane portion, the two biggest pieces are I work out a lot. So like I either work out or run every day. And it's just become a default for, how I operate. And like that has given like I really running for me has really turned into um a release on just everything going on, but it also just allows me time to sit or time not actually sit, but time to like sit in my head
yeah.
and kind of work through what's going on around me. Um, and so that's a huge benefit for me. The other is music is a big one. And I haven't really, so I didn't have a music background at all, never played an instrument, never really didn't do much with it. And then like 3 years ago, I just really got into it. And now I do vinyl and it's a whole thing now. But music has been a huge blessing to be able to get into it and learn more about it. And um, just a way to process something different that isn't just news or information. So I would say that those are the two that keep me sane. The things that keep me motivated, honestly, it's doors are my favorite thing. Knocking doors is and like the last like week where it's been very cold has been killing me because of like, you know, there's a part of me that wants to go out, and then there's my mom who is like, don't go out. Like I will murder you if you go out. And so that's a balancing act. But you know, for me, getting to interact with people in their day-to-day lives where you're at a place where they're comfortable because it's their house, and just getting to talk about issues and seeing what's going on, and what's your tough issue, what's going on in life that is a problem or something that you need help with. And like those conversations are the ones that keep me motivated. Like my very first door that I knocked on was I was looking for a guy's wife or for a wife, and the husband came to the door and he said he's a registered Republican. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And he then proceeded to explain why he felt the Republicans had abandoned public education and had abandoned and want Republicans to lose in November because he is so fed up with what they have become. And so it's stories like that that keep me going and keep me motivated throughout it all.
Yeah. That's really great. I have two follow-up questions to
Yeah.
that. Well, I wouldn't say follow-up. One's going to be a follow-up question. One is just kind of a story of things that we've experienced. Layla's door knocking too. I am her driver essentially because this is rural door knocking, so you can't just take off in a
Yep.
neighborhood. It's different. And I think overwhelmingly what we're hearing and what she is hearing is that none of these people have had anyone knock on their door in well over 10 years, if ever. And a lot of them are so excited just to have somebody there telling them that they're running. Like that's just enough. Like they're so happy and so like hopeful about it. And it is super, super motivating. Even for me just to continue driving the car. So, the follow-up question is music. Spew like three albums that you cannot get enough of
So ooh,
because we're kind of
it's like asking for pick a
musical
favorite child.
nerds in a way.
So I will say the record that started it
Mhm.
all was Bad Out of Hell by Meatloaf.
Okay.
Just because he does some interesting things in there that are just I've never quite I have never I feel so cliche saying it. I have never felt the way I felt than when I listened to like Paradise on the Dashboard Light the first time, or 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Okay.
Like there's just something special there. So that's one. The vinyl record that I so I've one rule around vinyl records, which is that if it's a record I want, I can't order it. It has to be, I have to find it at a
You have to go
shop.
find it.
Uh, I have to go find it because like
Yeah.
if you just roll with like I'm just gonna order it, then you get it right away and you can order any album anymore. And so it's like if you have the rule around like I have to find it in person, then that's just creates it. It makes it gives you something to work towards. And so there was my favorite album. It's probably my favorite album overall, which is REO Speedwagon, and it's you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
Mhm.
And I looked everywhere for it. I looked in like I would every big city I went to, whether it was Minneapolis, Kansas City, I would stop at record shops trying to find this album. Could not find it. And then randomly I stopped at I can't I'm blanking on the name, but it's by the old Aldi where the old Aldi was in Cedar Falls. There's a record shop there. I think it's Marv's Records. Don't quote me on that. Ray's Records, maybe.
I don't even
Anyway,
remember.
I went in there and in the rack there were 2 copies of it. And so
Oh,
I found it right here in Cedar Falls and it was amazing. I was so happy. So that's one. And then the other one, so I don't have it on vinyl, but a record that it's a new record that came out in the last year that, let me find it. I think is probably my favorite record that I've been listening to, which is I Barely Know Her by Somber.
Ah,
Um,
fire
Layla,
like
you
album,
know this one.
fire
uh,
album. So good.
beginning to end, amazing
So
album.
good. Yeah.
So
Layla has a
cannot
ghost
recommend
record
that
we've
enough.
been looking for forever.
Oh my God, don't get me started.
What is it? I need
It's
to know.
regional at best by 21 Pilots, but it's like they don't have it on Spotify anymore. A whole like record label problem, and you can only find it on vinyl. Sometimes some people find it, and it's a very niche thing, and I've never been able to find it. So I'm still
Oh,
looking.
what's it
Years.
called again?
It's regional at best.
Okay, I'm writing it down. I will keep an eye out for it.
Okay. Awesome.
We're gonna have to, Layla's gonna have to put out like a video and be like, I need everyone
Yes.
to tune
Go
in
to your
and
local.
go to your local record shops. Oh my
We
God.
love using people power on this kind of thing.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna hop to the next question.
Yeah.
The next 2 questions are kind of similar, but not, you're young enough to where you will understand them. What is your hottest take?
What is my hottest take? I mean, none of my takes are particularly hot after this week because it's pretty cold, but
Fair.
uh sorry. The I'm trying to think what a hottest take would be. Um so I would say for hottest take, we can go with that local government makes maybe I don't know if this is that hot of a take, but that local government makes the biggest impact in your daily life. Like
It's not
everyone
a
is
hot take. That's just the truth.
I know.
It
I mean I know it's just the truth.
is. But I think a lot of people don't know that that's
I
just the
think
truth.
So I guess it would be a hot take then.
I
Yeah.
think people are very focused on national stuff, and it's like, honestly, you can make so much more of like, in like, I came up working on local school board or city council races, and you get to know the candidates better, and then you also just like the impact you're making on things from how your roads are plowed to whether there's going to be a roundabout or
Mhm.
whether there's like the number of discussions that local government have that truly are hugely impactful. um, is just something that I really don't think gets the attention it deserves a lot of the time.
Could not agree more. We actually, even with wenches, there's always a big push for us to talk about Trump and to talk about what Trump's doing now or whatever. And it's really difficult because sometimes, he does some pretty awful things, and we obviously think they're awful because we're a fairly progressive organization. And two very progressive people for Iowa. We'll just say that. Um, so it's hard because we want to bitch about those things just like everyone else. But at the same time, we know that there is little to nothing we can do to solve that problem right now. But what we can do is we can solve the problems happening in Iowa by focusing on Iowa legislation and the Iowa election coming up and things like that. So, yes, not a hot take at all, but we'll take it.
Okay.
Okay.
Like I said,
So
it's been pretty cold out, so.
it's true. It's kind of hard to think of hot anything right now because it's 40 degrees. What is your wokest take?
The wokest take. Um, I will go with, so hang with me on it. So our state motto is our liberties we prize, our rights we will maintain.
Mhm.
Um, I think the wokest thing we can do as a state is just live by that motto, like actually live by it though, because if it's things like civil rights, if it's things like your right to uh, you know, the right to decide whether to keep an unwanted pregnancy, the right to uh like the right, it doesn't even it can be stuff about you, it can be rights around healthcare, rights around affordability, rights around rent, rights around like whatever the rights can be is endless. And just living by the value that is literally in our state it's on the flag, that we will maintain these rights. And the current Republican legislature doesn't even live by that, which by after the Civil Rights Code revoking the Civil Rights Code language. So to me, it's like, if we just live by that, that's a pretty woke thing to do. And I think that's, to me, our state motto is a good guiding light on where we should be going.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a rapid fire. It's two questions. It can be yes or no answers. We don't ask you to go into depth and detail, but if you'd like to, you're welcome to. Uh, Number one is, are you pro-choice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Number two is, do you support LGBTQ plus rights, specifically trans rights?
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
I uh and like, so I was in the chamber when they voted on the repeal in 25, which that whole week was awful.
Yeah.
And like, because the week started normally and then they both dropped the bills and it just moved faster than most things in the legislature move. Um, and so this isn't a story directly on that, but this is just how my day kind of unfolded on that. We had that by all, like, just all around terrible day, right? It went through the House. The speeches were terrible on the Republican side. And so at the end of that day, I went home, I worked out, and I had a reunion of Lead for America people. And I was like, I do not want to jump on a Zoom call with these people. And not, no, I love my cohort, but I was like,
Mhm.
this is not the day to
Not
really do
today.
that. And so I was like, you know what? I'll jump on for 10 or 15 minutes and then I'll call it a day. And on that call, I forgot that when you get a group of young people together who care deeply about their communities, there's a little bit of magic that happens on you being more motivated and you like coming out of the call being like, okay, I can do something about this. I can make the world a better place. And I call it the Lead for America sparkle, which is a little sparkle in their eye that is just comes from you're spending time with people who are kind of like you in the sense of like you're the same age and you care about the world and you can believe in making a difference there. And so, long way of saying, like, part of the reason I decided to run was that day, both because of how awful it was, but also because there's something magical about young people coming together and trying to change the world. So,
Yeah.
so very long answer for your yes or no question, but
We'll allow it. It was a very good answer. Um, okay, so we are at the end. We have two more questions. Why should your constituents vote for you?
why should they vote for me? I would say because I've, you know, had a lot of opportunities to learn a lot about both state government, local government, all government. Um, and I've had a great role model in Rob to get to um, see what real accessible leadership looks like. And so, one of the commitments I've made is I'll do a town hall in every precinct every year. It actually works out pretty nicely for my district because it's got 12 precincts, so I can just do one a month.
District has
Um,
12 precincts.
mhm.
Jeez, our entire county only has 7.
Yeah. So like it it works. But like the so between that and um, messages and just uh being more accessible around being in the community and letting folks, the nice thing about and this is why I like this level of race and anything lower is like you're close to the people. Like for state government, state house is the closest you get to the people you represent. And so it's a cool way to get to interact with people locally and still make a big difference at the state level. And so I think I've got a lot of experience on doing that already. And I think just being able to help be the change around that is something that I'm really looking forward to bringing in to the district. So,
I love that. So one thing we usually ask that we didn't ask you because you kind of covered it on your own is how tell us ways you're active in your community, right? Which you've told us ways you're active in your community, so we didn't have to ask that question. But something we bring up and we talk about a lot when we ask that question is that we think that that is the prerequisite to running for office. You have to be in your community, you have to know your people, you have to, if you are not active in your community, then why are you running? Right. So I think that kind of relates to what you just said. Okay. So all that's left is to share your socials, your website, all of the ways people can get a hold of you.
so everything should be under Drew for Iowa, including the website drewforiowa.com.
Perfect.
You can donate there. You can, more importantly, I mean, donations are obviously, unfortunately, important, but equally as important, we do have a form on there of all the various ways you can volunteer on the campaign. And would love to get more volunteers because we just need, the thing I try to remind folks is like we have a once in a generation opportunity this year, and if we can win some of these races, we can change the landscape of the state of Iowa. And so, what that means, though, is we all have to do more. That includes me doing more than I've ever done. That means you all doing more than you've ever done. That means everyone doing more.
Mhm.
But if we're going to be exhausted, let's at least be exhausted at the end of all of this, having won some stuff. So that's the main thing that I want you to do. Also, remember that there is something for anyone to on every campaign. There is no shortage of things to do, so it's just pick up the shovel that's right for you and start digging. So,
Perfect. Awesome. That's it. That is all. I hope it wasn't too painful
no,
or
it was great.
terrifying or whatever. Thank you so much for hopping on. We know you were incredibly busy with all the things that you have going on, so we super appreciate it.
Thank you
And
for taking the time.
Yeah, of course. And obviously we're going to keep up with your race. It would be hard for us not to, because we will see you everywhere.
Yes.
Because we're kind of local. So,
Yes, we are.
all right, that is it. Yeah, everybody go to Drew's website, read all about him, volunteer, give him some money, do all of the things. It's super important. And he's
And then vote.
absolutely right. What'd you
And
say?
remember to vote.
And
And
then vote.
vote, obvious.
And vote in your primary and your general.
Primary.
Remember, there's a primary too.
Yes. Yes. All right. Thank you, Drew.
Yes, thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Some sort of sign. Hit me